Baik. Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wasallam. So today is our first, I guess, session. Thanks for joining, although I'm not really a teacher, but thanks for joining the sessions anyway. So I'm recording this session, by the way, so hopefully you guys are okay with that. Once we have finished the session, then I'll upload it into our youth center channel, and then I'll post the link into the website, and I'll post it in the group as well, so that you guys know where to get the recording. Yeah. So the intention for the sessions today, not sure whether you guys saw the not sure whether you guys saw the syllabus, but this is what I have in mind for the next couple of weeks until Sheikh comes back. So for today, what I want to do is I want to go into the overview. So the slide, I'm going to refer from slide number 1 to 12 and then 16 and 17. Or today, because this is like the first time, it's fine. I don't think you guys had the chance to look at the slide just yet. But the best thing that I would suggest is before the next class, once you look at the syllabus, have a look at the slide that I mentioned in there, so that you guys have a brief overview of what we're going to cover. And if let's say there's something that you particularly have in mind that you want to ask, then you can actually ask in the session. So I think that will be more beneficial instead of just like starting from blank before coming to the class. You have a question? The slide is in the, if you look back into the WhatsApp group, there's a URL in there where I said there's a reference material. So the slide is actually in there.
You sent the
Oh, you can't click it? Oh, okay, okay.
Because you didn't separate it from the text.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't, but it's okay. So what I'll do is I'll just post another one with just the link. With just the link. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm gonna go straight into the actual slide. That bigger. I actually can't make that bigger. So for those who do not know me, my name is Shad. You can just call me Shad. So I'm not a teacher, as I mentioned before. So I'm just one of the students in Sheikh Yusuf class. Some of the brothers here are with me in the Sheikh Yusuf class. So the first class was actually from 17th of May. That's the first one that I joined. There were previous sessions as well, but this one was, I guess, the latest batch. So that means to say I've studied with Sheikh for about 6 months now. So in terms of my own study, other than Sheikh Yusuf class, I actually follow other classes as well, like Madinah TV, which I highly recommend if let's say you guys are really serious about reading or learning, especially Quranic Arabic, not just language, not just the spoken one. Go to Madinah TV, subscribe. It's well worth your money. So a bit of, I guess, what do you call it, promotion. So other online material that reference that I usually use is drvania.com, which is the author of the Madinah Arabic book. He has a website. There's a lot of materials available there as well. There's like a test lesson, there like a practice, exam, a lot of materials in there. So I highly recommend going to that website as well. LearnArabicOnline.com, that one is, usually I go there when there's like some concept that Sheikh mentioned in the class, but not in the book. For example, the other day he mentioned Badal. It's not in the book. So I went in there and find what is Badal and all that, and just I said it just my own, just because I'm curious to see what exactly is Badal all about, as an example. And the other one is abdurrahman.org. I think the brother there, he printed out that note. That's actually from abdurrahman.org. So that note is actually quite useful as well. Again, all of these are available in the URL, which I will reshare in the group, just in case you guys didn't see it. So being a human, I'm not perfect as well. I'm sure that I will make a mistake. It's just a matter of when. Definitely I will make a mistake. So in case you find something is wrong, just let me know. I'm more than happy to be corrected. In terms of the scope of what we will cover book 1 and book 2 of Madinah Arabic Reader. So any of the concept of grammar rules, vocabs that are in those 2 books, we will cover inshallah. There will be some additional lessons that may be related to what we will cover, that I will also cover. And those are mainly the one that Sheikh Yusuf himself mentioned in the class. If he didn't mention in the class, most definitely I'm not going to mention it because it's just going to confuse everyone. Okay, and most likely I do not know those rules anyway in my heart, so better not talk about it. And in terms of, I guess, my role here, I don't see myself very much as a teacher, I think. I'm kind of seeing myself more like a personal trainer, like that person who kind of annoy you and try to push you, make sure that you guys do your practice, make sure you guys do your exercises and everything. I'm not really a teacher. I'm not qualified to be a teacher, to be frank, but I'm doing what I can based on what I know. But yes, in terms of, I guess, my role, I'm seeing myself more as a personal trainer. So I apologize in advance if I annoy you guys. Inshallah, my intention is good. I just want to make sure that and make sure that you guys hopefully get the best out of the sessions that we have here. Disclaimer, the material that I have in here, a lot of them I actually took a snapshot from Madinah and also abdurrahman.org. If they say they come back to me and they say that you have to remove it, I have to remove it because I didn't really like write to them specifically or whatever. But so far, some other people have used it as well, so they didn't have any concern. But I just want to make sure that it's upfront that not all of the material I did it myself. So just to give full credit to them and may Allah bless them and give them barakah for what they have done. Okay, objectives of this session, I put in here the two kind of category of students that I see based on what we have, I guess, observed in the last couple of months. Usually what will happen is that for Sheikh Yusuf class even, the first few lessons, there will be a lot of people who are really motivated and all those stuff. But as time goes by, people start dropping. But what I want to do, if possible, even if you guys feel like it's difficult and you guys can't commit, come anyway. At least you guys can get the ajar of being in the mosque, waiting between the salah, being in the majlis of the ilm of the gathering of ilm. At least you guys can still get some benefit, inshallah. You might not be able to get full benefit of the sessions if you are not fully committed, but you still, inshallah, will get some benefit. But I sincerely hope that everyone can put a little bit of effort, because it's not impossible for us to catch up 2 books in about 17 lessons or 17 sessions. You guys will see the syllabus and when you guys have a time in the WhatsApp group. But I have laid out what we will cover in each session, which lesson, and all those stuff. Then one of the things that I kind of really need to put an emphasis here, Arabic study is not just like you are listening to a hadith or like Riyadus Salihin or Kitabut Tawheed, where you can listen and then just absorb the information. You actually have to practice, because it sounds simple. The rules sound simple of if this, then this, if this, then that. Then when it comes into practice, you will get confused. Which rule do I apply for which? Usually that's the issue. During the class, if you guys will realize, during the lesson itself, people usually do not get confused with the actual lesson in the actual session. But when multiple concepts get into the same kind of list of questions, people usually get confused. Is this mutah ilayh? Is this al-ma'mul? Confused. So we have to practice. And what I want to do is, I want to be able to give you guys a little bit of practice after each lesson, inshallah. And I hope that you guys can do the homework. Even if you guys can't really do it and can't really understand, just do it anyway and send it to me. And at least I can understand or gauge where you guys are as we go along. And I can probably focus a bit more on certain things that, if let's say I see that a lot of people are struggling with Namanu as an example, then I can put a little bit more focus on that area as an example. Okay, but I really need your guys' effort to kind of do your part as well. Otherwise, then it's just going to be like one-way lesson, because I wouldn't know where you are, and I'm just going to like continue as fast as I can just to complete the lessons, which is not my intention, but it might turn out that way. So for casual students, basically people who do not complete the criteria above. So not the criteria, basically for the people who can't really commit, I think what will happen is that they might be able to grasp the concept at a high level, but if we start to do practice and exam, I think it's going to be very difficult for you guys to get more than 90%. And if you guys start to use the 10 book 3 session with Sheikh Yusuf when he comes back, I think it's going to be quite difficult. I myself have already finished book 3 by my own. And from my view, book 1 and book 2 are nothing compared to book 3. That's my view, my personal view. So we really need to master book 1 and book 2 before we start book 3. That's my advice to everyone. Okay? Challenges. So this is just my observation. Some people may agree, some people may not agree, but this is what I see for the last couple of months. In terms of the challenges to obtain the objective, I see these are the 4 main area. So the first one is that some people might get distracted, like they're trying to write notes in the class. Don't write too many notes. That's my view, because what I see is that people write notes, and then let's say for example during the review session when I ask them, they don't even know what they wrote anyway. They just go back. Then what's the point of writing notes? Instead of writing notes, make sure that you guys understand what is being presented during the session. Pay full attention to it. The notes are already in here anyway. The slide is already available to you guys. So pay full attention to the session itself instead of trying to write. Because most of the time, like say for example, some of the previous review, when I asked the brother, they don't even know that the Sheikh had already mentioned that in the class, because they were busy writing something while Sheikh was mentioning something. So I don't want that to happen in this class, especially since that this is an intensive session where I'm going to blurt out a lot of concepts in a short period of time. So pay full attention. If you guys have some difficulties trying to like focus, just stop me. If I need to repeat, just let me know. But pay full attention, please. And then in terms of missing session, I guess it's impossible to probably attend 100% of the session. Sometimes things happen. Maybe your kids are sick, maybe you have to go to somewhere, maybe you have to go to work, whatever it is. That's fine. I hope I can attend all of the session. Obviously, if I'm not here, then probably the session can't continue. But I'll try my best, inshallah. But if you guys cannot make it, it's okay. But please let me know beforehand, just as a matter of respect to other brothers as well. Let me know beforehand, and then after the class, as usual, I'll upload the recording. And please make sure that you guys at least watch the recording. And you must still do the homework anyway. Even if you don't attend the class, if you can't make it, please do the homework anyway. And then send the homework before the next class. Yeah, that's my ask from you guys. Right? In terms of asking me, I'm okay. I think some brothers here, like Brother Rosman, has been asking me. You guys can ask him. I never turn him down. He always asks me. I'm fine with that. If you guys see me here, just ask me. If let's say between Maghrib and Isha we don't do anything, Sheikh's not here, whatever, just ask me. I mean, you guys usually see that I don't join you guys when you guys are talking something that's not to be disrespectful. I just say it on my own because usually I just study. So if you guys see me, just approach me. If you guys have any questions, just approach me. I'm fine with that. You guys can also WhatsApp me. I'm fine with that as well. Just don't call me because sometimes I'm in a meeting, so calls kind of distract me. So WhatsApp is fine. Even if you do WhatsApp voice, it's fine. But just don't call me during like a 9 to 5. That's my only ask. Okay. I'm always happy to help whenever possible. Overwhelmed with information. So one thing that I also see is that during the session, vocab is really important. If you don't know the vocab, it's hard for you to practice anyway. And what I see is that during the class, people are trying to grasp what's the meaning of this. Instead of focusing on the concept, they're trying to get what's the meaning of this, and then asking people and also asking Shay. The best way that I see is practice the vocab outside of the session. Before you even come to the session, you should know the vocab already. Because vocab is not something that somebody has to teach you. It's just something that you have to practice. So the memorized ayat is where I think it can help us, inshallah. And I think some of the brothers here haven't provided, can't remember who. Quran, yeah, I think Quran has provided your username, but anyway, I'll ask you after this. So I just want to make sure that people do the vocab, and I'll push you guys. If I don't see you guys do vocab, at least at the last few days of the week, I'm going to start messaging you guys to make sure that you guys do some exercise. Okay? So the vocab is really important. Like I said, vocab is something that should be just at the back of your mind. What you need to focus on are the rules. As long as you know the rules, vocab is just, it will come naturally. As soon as you read Quran, you will learn some words, you read some books, you learn some hadith. So it just will come naturally. But for the purpose of practice, because the book use a set of vocabs, we have to know it. During the exam, Sheikh will use the same kind of vocab as well. And I will actually use the same exam that Sheikh used for the senior students. For the senior students, please do not like cheat and then look back at the exam. That's not the that's not the intention. And I trust you guys anyway. So I'm sure you guys won't like try to cheat and then try to do the homework, the actual exam before the exam. But that's my intention because I want to gauge the level of understanding before she comes back. Okay. If you guys lose confidence, just you probably can't see that, but you guys can see the slide later on. So the ayah is walaqad yassarna al-Qur'an lidhikri fal, mim, mudakir. So Allah said, and we have certainly made the Quran easy for remembrance. So is there anyone who will remember? Effectively, Quran, Arabic, the Quran, and Allah has already promised that He has made the Quran easy to remember, right? So being the language of Quran, Arabic, it should not be too difficult for us to learn Arabic as well. Yes, it might sound a bit daunting with the 8 books and all that, but so far, me personally, I find Arabic is fun for me. That's why I don't mind like spending a lot of time like reading and all this stuff. And especially when you started when you read Quran every day, then you started to recognize, oh, this is actually mudaf ilaih. Oh, this one is actually talking about Allah. That's why it's the actual what do you call that status of the verb or status of the word actually match Allah as an example. And what I want to do, if we have time, the Al-Fatiha, I want to actually review the first 3 or 4 ayah or Al-Fatiha, look at the i'rab of Al-Fatiha so that we can appreciate a little bit more what we have learned and what we are reading every day, right? But I need your time I need your effort as well to make sure that we can kind of stick to the syllabus and then we can do something more fun. Even more time, I want to do like more fun things like Kahoot as well, do like vocab or Kahoot and things like that. But again, I do need help from you guys to put a little bit more effort too. Okay, so that's the high level challenges. Like I mentioned just now, expectation for some of the committed students, I think that 10,000 per week is probably too low, but I'll review it because it looks like Brother Ali, Brother Zubair are already more than 10,000 already. I think the last time that I checked. So probably I need to increase that a little bit more, but we'll see. For now, I'll just stick with 10,000. So other than the points to remember, I want to add that please also read the slide. If you guys, because I'll mention the slide number that we will use for the next session. So please at least have a look at what we're going to cover. And especially the senior students who are already kind of familiar with the concepts, I think you guys might know which concept that you might need to pay more attention to. So at least if they say, you guys think that mudah-mudah ilai is one of it, then if you know that the next session is going to cover mudah-mudah ilai, then at least pay more attention to it, as an example. Okay. Then the only thing that I guess I kind of have to mention here, between the committed student and the casual students, the only difference is that for now, I was trying to think of a way not to kind of punish, but there must be some sort of consequences for the student who do not really put effort as much as the committed students. So the only thing that I can think of, because I don't want to stop people from coming to the lessons, I think coming is still good, but the only thing that I can think of is maybe for the one who are not committed enough, then during the next session, I might not ask you guys to participate in the actual exercise. So sometimes we will do exercises during the session. So I'll ask like some sort of questions. Then for the people who do not do the homework, then probably I'm going to skip them when it comes to their turn, as an example. Again, I hope that I don't have to enforce this kind of rule, but like I said, I'm more like a personal trainer. I'm trying to motivate you guys. Hopefully you guys will be able to do all of the homeworks and all of the vocab exercise. Okay?
Or they can bring pizza for everyone.
Oh, they can bring pizza to everyone, yeah. Faluda or something. Some tips and tricks, I suppose. Time is precious. You can't buy time, so don't waste time. Even if you don't have like 30 or 45 minutes in a day, because sometimes when I talk to some brothers, they say, oh, I don't have enough time. But then when I see them even waiting for a salah for 5 minutes, you can actually do vocab, as an example. Don't waste your time, seriously, brothers. So that's my honest advice. So whatever time that you have while waiting for salah, coming from the your home to Musalla, maybe play. Maybe my voice is not that good in terms of recording and whatever, but play some sort of recording for maybe some other videos, not my video maybe. Just listen to something while driving. So just don't waste your time. Time is precious. So like highly successful people like Elon Musk, I think you guys probably heard about his 5-minute blog. So every day he has a 5-minute blog of what he wants to do every day. So at the time that he woke up at 7 a.m. in the morning, he already knows what he's going to do for the rest of the day. Everything he has already scheduled at a 5-minute blog. So
if you put everything 5 minutes, 5
yeah, 5 minutes, 5 minutes.
What about if it exceeds more than 5 minutes?
They have some buffer there. I'm not going to explain too much into the actual thing. You can read it online. But he has a way to have some buffer here and there. If let's say something might not be 5 minutes, it might be 10 minutes.
More, another 5, another
Something
5,
like that. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes people think, oh, I have to make sure that I have 1 hour to study Arabic as an example. 1 hour, yeah, good if you can focus on 1 hour, but sometimes even myself, I can focus for the full an hour anyway. So even 10 minutes is good enough for me just to read what's the points to remember for the next session. That's good enough, right? So don't waste your time. Dua obviously is important. We can't do anything without Allah's help. So make sure that you guys do dua. For myself, I just want to share how I study. So when I study, before the class, these are the things that I always try to make sure that I'll do every single time. I will read the points to remember for the next lesson. So I already know when Sheikh comes, I already know what's going to cover for that day. That's why when sometimes you guys see me, Sheikh ask something, I already know, because I read the things already. It's not like I'm a genius or something. No, I just read whatever it's going to cover for the next session. So that's how I know. And then if I have some extra time, I will do the exercises as well for the next lesson. But that one usually take more time. Sometimes I couldn't do it because it's quite a lot of exercises on that particular lesson. But at least read the points to remember. That's I find really helpful for me. And because of that as well, since I know what's going to be covered in that session, if she mentions something that I know is already in the book, I don't write down because it's already in the book anyway. Why should I write down? I just focus on what he's saying on that particular lesson. So that's how I kind of try to maximize the session itself, try to make sure that whatever she is covering during the session, I just fully listen to it. In the class, like I said, pay full attention. I hardly write any note down. If you see my notebook, is not much in there. And then after the class, I practice vocab using a Memorize app and flashcard. So this one, not like a selling thing or anything, but flashcard that I practice as well. Up to you guys, but this is what I have. You guys could do something as well, but obviously this one requires time as well to prepare the flashcard and everything. But I'm just like sharing what I've done that has helped me to.
I thought he was putting on chocolate.
No, chocolate. Not yet, at least. Right. Enough about introduction. Any question? Anything you guys have a concern? Any suggestion? Any feedback from what I have mentioned so far? Yes, Marisa. So the homework, yes. So the homework online. So what I'll do, I'll post it in the website as well, so that everyone can easily reference everything regarding with the class is all in the website. It's going to be one of the blog posts. So there's going to be like a link, like a PDF with the question. So you just like up to you guys. Starting by the Quran, sometimes he has this Adobe Reader, and then he just like note down, and then he just send a screenshot to me. Up to you guys. You guys want to print it, bring it to the class. Up to you guys. However you guys want to do the homework, totally up to you. Just make sure that you guys do it.
There will be a PDF file.
Yeah. Most likely the PDF file. Yeah. Right. Now we're going to go to the actual lesson. Overview. What I want to do for this this lesson, I want to talk about the ism, status, and also the gender. Number and type of do that in the next one. For now, I'm going to do the status and the gender. What you guys are seeing in here is basically a language broken down into multiple parts. So if you think about a language, you will realize that obviously the last or the bottom level is actually the letter itself, right? You need to recognize the letter. Once you recognize the letter, you can form a word. Once you have formed a word, you can form a phrase. Once you have formed a phrase, then you can make a sentence. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to start from the second level. Letters, I think you guys know the letters already. This is not the class to recognize the letters. So now I want to focus on the word in Arabic. So Arabic, as you can see from there, the words, there are actually 3 types of words in Arabic. Any word that you see in Arabic will fall under one of these categories. It's either going to be ism, harf, or fi'l. So, the next slide. Ism, the words that you see is probably going to be ism, because a lot of the thing will fall under the ism category. Because unless it is something to do with fi'l or harf, then most likely it's ism. So that's why most likely it's going to be ism. Example of ism would be a person. Let's say a name, Ali, Huram, that's actually ism. And then let's say teacher, policeman, student, all of those are ism. So that's like related to person. There's also place. So let's say mosque, hospital, clinic, all of those are name of places. Those are also ism. A lot of things that we will see in the book would be thing like book or desk, chair, bed. All of those are listened to, and also adjective: tall, short, fast. All of those are also listened. So basically, what I want to say is a lot of the things that we will see in book one are listened. There's only I think 2 or 3 fail in book one. Haba and Kharaja and Jalasa, I think maybe 3. I can't remember exactly, but I think 3 at the most in book one. I'm actually going to skip fail that's introduced in book one, because if I start mentioning fail, I have to mention a lot of things related to fail, which is probably more appropriate to be covered in book two. So I'm actually going to skip anything to do with fail in book one. I'm going to put that in book two, so that at least I'm hoping that it's going to be less confusing instead of introducing too many stuff at once. Okay. So fail is basically a verb. Just a quick introduction. So anything that has a tense. So let's say, for example, went, right? So go, and the present tense is go, past tense is went. Or let's say Kharaja went out, as an example. So anything to do with a word that has a tense, that's actually fail. So fail, as I said, we're going to cover more into the book 2 lesson. The next one is actually harf. So harf is basically a word that if it doesn't have anything after it, it doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't have any meaning. So if let's say you were say from, there's no meaning to it. To, there's no meaning to it as well. TO, not TWO, but TO. There's no meaning to it. So those kind of words is basically something that we call harf. Okay. So this one, I'm not sure whether you guys can see that. Maybe I'll. Some brothers did this exercise already yesterday, so maybe I'll just ask some other brothers who haven't seen this one. So this is just like a quick exercise to determine whether you guys understood what I mentioned so far in terms of the type of words. These are all in English, obviously. So the one highlighted there, the teachers, what do you guys think? Is it ism? Ism, right? Because teachers, person. Prepared, is that ism, fail, or? Fail, because it's a verb that has a tense. For, is that harf, right? Tidied, fail, has ed, right? So it's actually a verb. Campus, ism. The binders, ism. On, harf. Early, no, early is not fail. It's ism. It's not a verb. Yeah. So stood, fail. At, ism, because it's adjective, right? And then long, ism as well, because it's actually an adjective. Make sense? Yeah, adjective. Okay. Yeah. So that's basically the type of words. Any questions so far? This one is not too critical. If you guys don't get it, it's still okay. But what you really have to take away from this session is this next slide, which is this. Probably the most important lesson that you will have in your life for Arabic language. I'm not like exaggerating it, because if you don't know the status of a word, basically you will mess everything up, right? So this one is something that you really have to pay attention to. Okay, so when we say about status, right, think of it this way. Say there's a lady, and some brothers will probably like this when we started saying lady. So if I start saying, okay, that is a lady. The status of the lady is single. Okay, the status of the lady is single. When I say the status of the lady is single, that probably means a few things, isn't it? For the brothers, that means that, oh, this might be a good candidate for me, as an example, for some brothers. So that might be mean something, right? Then when I say the status of the lady is married, then the enthusiasm might go down a little bit, right? So cannot be my candidate, things like that. But then it's actually the same lady, but it's just the lady has different kind of status. Now, let's say we talk about men, same thing. If let's say the man is married, although it's the same, now woman married, man married, but it means kind of different, isn't it? Can get married more, as an example. So even though the status is the same, but the actual subject is different, it could mean something different. I guess how I can try to put it, just to give like a very brief overview when I say about status. Okay, so what we want to do for this lesson, I'll introducing the three status that we have. So the name of the actual status is Rafa, Nasab, and also Jar. But we don't usually say Rafa, Jar, and also Nasab. We no, Jazm is the other thing. Jazm is the sukun one, but not going to cover that for this one. So if let's say we will say if something status of Rafa, then we will say the word is marfu. Marfu means the word is in the status of Rafa, but we just say marfu. I'm not going to say like this word is in the status of Rafa. That's too long. I'm just going to say marfu. And then the next one, Jar, I'm just going to say majrur, means that the word is in the status of Jar. So majrur. Mansub means the word is in the status of Nasab. That's basically it. Okay. Now, why is it important to know this stuff? I'll give an example.
The status of Ism.
Yes, what is it? Is it in here? Yeah, hang on. Yes, it is this one. Qatala Dawudu Jaluta. If let's say you say Qatala Dawuda Jalutu, it means totally different. Opposite.
Jalut killed Daud.
Exactly.
Daud killed
Exactly. That's why in Arabic, the last harakah is very, very important. If you say Qatal, that one, the ayah is saying, Dawood killed Jalut. But for whatever reason, you think that it's Qatala Dawuda Jalutu, that means Jalut is the one that killed Dawood. It means totally different thing. So that's why the status of the word is important to know who's actually the doer, who's actually the one that being action on, yeah, and a couple of other things. That's why it's important to know the status of a word. In some lessons later on, we will understand a little bit more how a word can be nasab or can be mansub or majrur. But know that by default, any word that you see should be marfu, unless there is a reason for it not to be marfu. By default, it's always marfu. So rafa means raise, jar means like pull, like being dragged. I forgot what is nasab. Can't remember the literal meaning of nasab. Can't remember.
In Urdu,
Which one? Talking about maybe you're talking about this one. I'll go back to this slide. Like, but one of the things that you guys can kind of take away from this table is that usually something that is marfu is also the subject of the sentence. Not always, but that's one indication that it is actually a subject of the sentence. So let's say, for example, when I say subject, let's say I say Muhammad is in the mosque. Muhammad is actually the subject. You're talking about Muhammad. What about Muhammad? He is in the mosque. So that's actually the information about Muhammad. I'll talk more about this Mubtada Khabar in the next lesson. I'm not going to talk too much into it because that one we need a full session for it because it's quite important for us to understand Mubtada Khabar as well. But for now, just make sure you guys understand that there are three status. What are the three status again? Mansub, Majrur. Okay, and then the default status of a word marfu, unless there's something that is actually making mansub or majrur. Default is marfu. Okay. It's good to know. This is not too important now, but it's good to realize that if you see something that is actually ending in fathah, which is not always the case, because there are some words that has a plural. Well, all words have plural, but let's say for example, yeah, betul. Oh, fathah, sorry, brother. Yeah, I don't remember that. Yeah, fathah is the one, yeah. Well, so if let's say, where was I? Okay, so that chart over there, you see the, so that first row, this one is actually the marfu'. Muslimun, muslimani, muslimuna. You see that these are all marfu', but then it ends with kasra, and then this ends with fathah.
But it's still not full.
But it's still marfu'. But what you have to realize is that this is actually the pair or the dual version of the word muslimun, and this is the plural version of the word muslimun. So what I'm trying to say here is, have it at the back of your mind. When I say marfu', you guys have to remember that, okay, marfu' is the status of the actual word, but it doesn't have to always mean that it is dhamma. Not always. In book 1, always kinda, but later on, not always the case.
So you had to think of the singular word. How would you say that singular word? Then,
Let's say for example, if I say Musa, it's actually fathah, isn't it?
yes.
But Musa is actually, it can be marfu', but it ends with fathah. So that's an example as well. That's the reason why it doesn't have marfu'. I'm not going to explain that now. But that's an example of something that actually marfu', but it's ended with fathah. So, I guess what I said, marfu', dhamma can be an indication that something is marfu', but not always the case. It's not always that marfu' is in dhamma, but dhamma is kind of an indication that something is marfu'.
So why is Musa?
It can be marfu'.
It's a subject.
It can be subject. Let's say Musa is in the mosque. Musa is still a subject. It is marfu', but it doesn't have a dhamma, isn't it? Musa.
Yeah. So
There's another reason why it cannot be musu.
So if you ask, so how would you say that Musa?
Masjidi.
Fil masjid. So
It is marfu', 100% marfu'.
even though it doesn't have the,
That's what I'm trying to
because
say.
it's the subject.
Because it is a subject. Not always. Not always as well.
Then
Like
what
khabar.
actually-
Khabar can be marfu' as well.
Then
So-
always it is not.
Marfu' is
Say knowing, whatever.
is so
Not now, knowing.
known.
Knowing, yeah, something.
So,
Known. K-N-O-W.
K-N-O-W.
Something we know
No,
about.
no.
Something
Yeah.
about it again. So that's what you mean.
Yeah.
So
Not now.
What do you mean?
So, just to answer your question, subject is one of the reason why something is marfu'. Khabar can be another reason why something is marfu'. That's a status. How to explain it further?
You
So,
You ask what is status?
so any word, status. Okay. So the status of the word basically shows a couple of things about the word itself. So let's say, for example, if we want to put marfu' state as well, isn't it? Not man'ut of, let's say, for example, the new teacher. It's also in marfu'. The status of the word is marfu'. The new have to be marfu' because it has to match the status of the teacher. Because the teacher is in marfu'. Head, hand, legs, right? Word in Arabic has ism, has that, has a status, has a gender, has a number, has a type. So that one we will cover later.
okay.
because it's gonna be too difficult. We start talking about mamnu min asarf and all those stuff. It's gonna like get you guys very confused, and that's the difficult thing about language. When you start talking about something, because it's a language, it has a lot of other kind of rules as well. But I'm not gonna go into that for now. This lesson, the only thing that is important is that you guys have to know that there are three status of a word: marfu, mansub, majrur. Some indication of marfu is it has dhamma, but not always the case. That's all of what I'm going to say for this lesson. By default, marfu, and as the status of the word by default it is marfu unless something is making it majrur or mansub. Okay, okay. Yeah. Yeah, but basically, yeah, how do I say? Probably put aside marfu being a subject for now. The table is just giving an example why something is marfu in a sentence, which is it is a subject. But when we cover more lessons, you will see that the word is actually marfu, but it's actually khabar. The word is marfu, but it's actually a na'at, as an example. But you probably don't understand that now. But just know that a word, it has four properties. It must have a status, it must have a type, it must have a number, it must have a gender. It's different from English. Any word in Arabic, for ism, it must have these four properties. And the more that we understand these four properties, the easier it will be for us to understand the later concepts. Because all the concepts will play with these four properties again. Okay? So for now, just remember that the status of the word, it will be either of these three. Okay? I'm going to skip that because it's too... Actually, I only cover this bit because we're going to go into the book one, lesson one in a bit. So I'm just going to talk about this one. I mentioned that a word must have a status, right? Either marfu, mansub or majrur. But sometimes a word, it cannot show the status of the word. It doesn't change at all. For example, hadha. If so, for whoever has done the book lesson 1 and lesson 2, you will see there's no other hadhi. There's no hadhi at all. If you read the Quran, there's no hadhi as well. It's always hadha. Regardless of what's before it, what above it, under it, it's always hadha. So it's called mabni. So that kind of word, it doesn't change at all. Mabni. Yeah. Non-flexible. It's not flexible at all. It doesn't change. It will always be hadha. Okay? Right. That's different. That's talking about something different. The word itself, I'm talking about the word itself. The word itself doesn't change. Hadhi is a different word. I'm talking about the word itself. So if I say, when I say the word doesn't change, for example, qalamun, you can change to qalamin, qalaman. It's the same word. But hadhihi is a different word. Hadhi is not hadha. It's a different word. For female, yeah. It's a different word altogether. But the word itself, the hadha, cannot change. It doesn't. The status of the word, you cannot tell is on the word itself because it's always hadha. Yeah, muzakkar. It will not be hadhu. It will never be hadhi. It will always be hadha. That's what I mean by a word that doesn't change. The status of the word, you cannot tell. So mabni. So you are confused? Okay. Okay so far?
Basic in Arabic is even when
They don't have. Ah. Boleh. Try that later. Next lesson I'll try that. I don't want to change it now because we are already running out of time, 9:26. Okay. So I'm just going to check back my syllabus just to make sure that I've covered what I want to cover today. 16 to 17. Okay. Okay, this is the last thing that I'm going to cover in the slide, and then after this we're going to go to the book. Now, last time, just a few moments ago, I mentioned that an Arabic word, ism, has 4 properties, right? So it has a status, which is the 3 status that we mentioned just now, mansub, majrur, and marfu, majrur, mansub. And then it also has a gender. So unlike English word, this word doesn't mean anything in English, but in Arabic, ism has actually a gender. So it can either be male or female. So by default, like the status, default of status is actually marfu, right, for a word. Default of a gender for a word is male, mudhakkar. Unless there's something that making it mu'annath, which is female, you just assume that the word is actually mudhakkar. Okay? So, an example of a word that is actually feminine is something that ends with ta marbuta. Like for example, this one. There's my cursor. There. That one. Sayyaratun. It's actually car. But because the word is feminine, there's going to be some rules that we have to follow because the word itself is feminine. As an example, if you want to say this car, you cannot say hadha. Because hadha, you can only use it for mudhakkar. It has to be hadhihi. Hadhihi sayyaratun. This is a car. As an example. So this is an example where you have to know the 4 properties of a word. Whether what is the status, whether it's male or feminine, whether it's singular or plural, whether it's proper or non-proper. That one we will learn later. But for now, remember 2 things. The gender, by default, it will be male. And then the status by default will be marfu. And then there are 3 types of status, which are, yep, that's the key lesson for today. Hopefully that's not too much. I did explain many things, but the key lessons for today are only that's the summary.
Stats, yeah.
Sorry?
The key lesson is the stats.
Yeah, the status.
Huh?
100%? No, 100%?
The previous class no, she has to.
But is it okay, or am I like going too fast? Am I like confusing you guys even more? Or? Yeah,
Got everything.
you got it. Alhamdulillah. But Hussein, looks like you are still a bit confused. Okay, okay. But Ashfaq, okay.
Yeah.
You did join the previous one.
Because I was in the.
Yeah, okay. So maybe by the Quran, by the Sahib then. You guys okay? So okay? So okay? Alright. Now let's move to the lessons in the book itself. Book number 1. Lesson number 1. Okay, so if you guys got hard copy, okay, so you hard copy. If you have soft copy, just use soft copy. Alright. Now. Why? I see the right side. Give up. Here's my book. Actually, maybe I can. There we go. No. Yeah, that.
It's just not teacher. Who do this? Auntie.
Okay, fine.
Very good. Yes, film Saudi, but really, really good.
So, today we're going to cover for the book 1. I'm actually going to cover 2 lessons at once, lesson 1 and lesson 2. because both lessons are practically a vocab thing, to be honest. The concept that we will see in book 1, lesson 1, is actually pointing to something. And the word that you see here, as I mentioned just now, the status of the word by default is marfu, right? And here you can see everything is actually ending with dhammah, the one that's being pointed at. And all of the hadha, you see there's no hadhi or hadhu. Everything is hadha. Because by default, it's not flexible. It doesn't change at all. It's all hadha. And hadha, the gender of hadha is actually male. That's why it's pointing to baitun, which is also a male word. Baitun, because by default it's male, and there's nothing it doesn't have tamar buta as an example. We will learn more what are the other rules, why something is feminine, but for now, you guys can see that there's no tamar buta here. So all of these are actually masculine word and also singular. So hadha is basically being used for pointing to something that is male and also singular.
And close.
And close. By close, it's not really kind of a rule. It's just this. So, but yes, something close. Yeah. So hadha, baitun, hadha, masjidun. I think this one is not too difficult. For the new brothers, I've actually went through Quram and Sahib already. Like last time I went with brother Sahib, it's quite okay. And but the Quran has already done like until lesson 4 exercise, so I think this one is quite okay. So that's basically this lesson. The other thing that we are being introduced here is how to ask a question. So if you want to say what is this, then ma hadha. But then if you want to ask who is this, is man. So man is being used for akil, for someone, for something that has brain or intellect. Sorry, not brain. Animal has brain as well. Intellect. Thanks. So practically human, but I think malaika also. I think so. Jinn as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So those three. But for our lesson, we're not going to say anything about jinn or malaika. So basically just human.
That'll be tomorrow, not this.
All right. So mahadha, manhadha. That's practically. I think the two brothers they have done some exercises with me. So and the other thing is to ask a yes or no question. So if you say, "Is this a house?" What do you add? Ah. You just add at the front, right? So if you look at page 4, there's a ahadha sarirun. This one. Ahadha sarirun. Is this a bed? No. La. This is a chair. So a question of ahadha, you have to answer with la or na'am. You always have to start with la or na'am. Ahadha, you have to reply with la or na'am. And then depending on obviously the context of the question, then you will have to answer the full thing. Okay? So that's basically it for lesson 1. And then if you go to, the rest are just like vocab, which is why I said the vocab are important. It's something that you have to practice outside.
Here, if we talk
Yeah.
about marfu, so there's dhamma and there's a subject like sarir.
Uh-huh.
So that's marfu. Is
Ahadha.
there any other reason why you why you make it marfu? Because it's subject, that's why, isn't it?
So this one, in this case, the subject is actually hadha. In this case, the sarirun is actually the kind of the khabar. Like, is this okay? What is it? I'm waiting for you to say something. Is this yes? What is it? Is this a chair? So it's not the actual sentence. You're actually asking about something that you're pointing this. This is actually the subject. Another example, if let's say you say he is a doctor, that he is actually the subject as well. But he in Arabic is huwa. It doesn't end with dhamma again. That's another example why something can be a subject but it doesn't have. It is marfu, but you can't see it because it doesn't have dhamma. But as you go along, inshallah you understand a little bit more. But for now, just understand that 3 status, again, the key takeaway, 3 status, and word has that 4 properties. But for now, just understand that the gender and also the status. Gender, by default, it is male. And then status by default, it is muzakkar. Sorry, status by default is marfu. I was also confused. Okay? Any questions so far? 30 minutes left. Now, lesson number 2. The only difference is it is pointing to something that is far. So lesson 2 is pointing something far. So you are saying that instead of this. Yeah. So if you look at lesson 2, page number 13, it says ma dhalika, which is what? Is that. Right? So ma dhalika najmun. Where am I now? Page 13. Yeah. So ma dhalika najmun. Okay. Hadha masjidun. So it's pointing like somewhere here. This is a mosque and that is a house. So dhalika is being used for something again that is masculine. Masculine, singular, far. You're pointing that. But again, I'm talking about the gender and also the status of the word. Right? So well, certainly in this case is not too important, but the what do you call that, the gender is important in this case. Because you're pointing to something that is masculine. That's why you have to use
Zalika is for
masculine.
yeah?
Male, yeah.
Tilka.
Tilka is for feminine. So the word for that, for masculine, is zalika.
So Zalika has nothing to do with something far.
Pointing that.
That comes in status?
So zalika, the status of zalika, again you can't see it because it is always zalika. But the status is actually marfu as well in this case. But it's not too important for you to know the status of the word in this case, because it's only going to be zalika anyway. It's not important for you to know, is it marfu? It is no way for you to. It's not too important. But what you need to know is it is actually muzakkar. So muzakkar match muzakkar. Muannas must match muannas. Right? Must match marfu, but in this case because you can't see, it's actually kind of marfu, but you can't see. So that's basically that page number 13. Same thing, if you want to ask what is that, how you say what is that? Ma dhalika. Ma dhalika, you just add the same thing, ma dhalika. And you want to ask who is man dhalika. Same rule. So ma for ghairu akil, which is something that doesn't have intellect, and then man for something that has intellect. That's the only thing for man and ma. Yeah. Yeah.
The following word,
Yes.
so bait,
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
it
Mm.
is it always
It depends on the word. If let's say I want to say this is a hospital, it's mustashfa. It's not mustashfu because the word itself doesn't show doma. It cannot be doma.
Same in particular names like Musa.
Yeah, this is
non-Arab
Musa
names.
again. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Ali means known. Hussein is known. Arif is known. Change that. Yeah.
Yep.
okay. So
So let's say if a word is fully flexible, that it is not mabni or it's not mamnu min as-sarf. I think you know mamnu min as-sarf. I think. Do you remember? Mamnu min as-sarf basically means word might not show. It can mean and it cannot have majrur as well. So there's some word that are like that. So then also there's a word like that doesn't show something like mustashfa. It's not as well because it ends with alif masura. We have to spell it mustashfa. It's the ya, but the ya is actually alif masura. Do you know alif masura? The alif masura, the ya, but doesn't have dots. Alif masura.
the alif,
The ya, the one that look like ya, but doesn't have the dot. It's actually alif masura. As an example. So
is it the ya with
mustashfan doesn't have. So but it doesn't have the actually. Mustashfa.
Mustashfa is hospital, no, that-
Yeah, it's hospital. Yeah.
That's far, but amongst that.
the Hamza.
Oh, you're talking about something? No, that's something different. What is ya? What is it? By default, it does have Hamza, is it?
Huh?
Oh,
The
oh,
projector.
yeah, probably.
Projector, yeah.
Ah, yeah, it's not connected.
Flashing.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, if let's say you write like that, it does have Hamza.
Pardon?
The enter,
So
yeah.
it becomes the Hamza.
Yeah, yeah, you can become the Hamza, yeah, yeah, you can become the Hamza.
That's
Depending on
why-
how you, yeah.
So it was. I think that's
That one's
what
slightly different though. That, like in the middle of the word, because Hamza is on,
That's right.
in the middle?
That's
but in this case, it's actually at the end. It's not related to that. Later, yeah, inshallah. So time, 12 minutes. I'm not going to go into new lessons because I'm just going to confuse everyone, I think. But for now, what questions do you have, I suppose, based on what we have covered today?
Quick recap.
So the marfu, the status, what are the status again? Sorry, keep on asking the status because it's important. What are the status again? Yeah, and then the status, default status of a word is? And then what are the other properties of a word? Status?
Singularity of
Yeah, yep, singular, plural, yeah. Gender, the last one?
and then marifa.
Oh, yeah, good, good, yeah, yeah, good, yeah. Marifah or nakira, type. So that are the four properties of a word as well as a reason. Okay. So when we go into the next lesson, when we go into like a word, I'll ask, okay, what is the four properties of this word? Is it proper or not? When I'll explain more about proper before we go into that. Whether it's singular or not, whether it's marfu, majrur or mansub, and whether it's masculine or feminine. Because we have to practice. If we are good with the four properties of a word, then things like not man'un is going to be quite simple because you just have to match it. Really, there's nothing. The rule is just that match. What need to match? You need to know the four properties first before you can actually do not man'un. But as long as you know that properties must match, then not man'un is done. It's not difficult at all. That's probably the easiest one, to be honest. For all of the rule that we will learn in a bit.
I think out of all this, status is a bit confusing. Everything.
I think for now, just look at a status. Don't forget anything about subject, whether it's like object, whether it's a doer, whatever. Just know that a word can have either of the three status. That's it. You don't have to worry because right now it's quite confusing to you because you can't determine whether something is marfu or not just based on if I say like he is a student. You can't tell whether he is actually marfu or not because if you just translate he, like I said, is huwa. You don't even know that that's actually marfu, as an example. So for now, forget about it. I'll explain more when we get into more lessons later. When I talk about pronouns, then I'll explain it a bit more. I will say pronoun is already marfu, as an example. I will say that. So then we will know, oh, okay, pronoun already marfu. You don't have to like worry whether it's like huwa, hiya, anta, antuma, antum. Always is going to be marfu, as an example. But for now, just know that a status of an ism, it can be either of that three, marfu, majrur, mansub. That's all. You don't have to worry about whether it's looking at the sentence, which one is subject. Don't have to worry about that for now. In the next lesson, I'll introduce a little bit more about mubtada and khabar. Like a sentence must have mubtada and khabar. Mubtada is basically the subject of the sentence. Khabar is actually the information about the subject. So you say a man what? Actually, a man is not the man. The man, yes, the man what? The man is behind the imam. Oh, okay. So you're telling me that the man is behind the imam. You're telling me something about the man. So if just the man, it's not complete. Same thing as well. If I just say in the masjid, what is in the masjid? You don't have a subject, right? So in the masjid, what is in the masjid? So the car, for whatever reason, is in the masjid. So that's actually the subject. The car is now the subject of the sentence. Right. So just 8 more minutes. Just do, I guess, a really easy exercise. For the senior one, I'm gonna ask male and female. But for the new brothers, I'm just gonna ask the male one. So I'm gonna say, let's say for example, for brother Horam, how to say, is this a pen?
Is
Is this a bed? Brother Syed?
how to say?
Syed, is this a chair? I'm not sure whether you have done the vocab, Brother Muhammad.
Yeah, sorry.
Is this a chair?
This is the chair.
Bang akan tanya benda sama ni. Is this a bag? Okay, betul. Sorry, tekak, sorry. So Hadi, because Akibatun is feminine. Let's say for example, do a bit tough for brother
Joshanda. You got Joshanda?
Joshanda. I got Joshanda. I did. I bought it for him as well. Joshanda. I bought for him. Yeah.
Is it working?
Sometimes, not always, but yeah.
Driver's license too.
For brother Ali, gonna be a bit more difficult. How to say, the car is in front of the masjid. Ada tu?
Imam al-Masjidi.
Imaman? No, not imam. Yeah, ama. Ama masjidi. Okay. Brother Hussein. Who is on the table? Maybe. Okay. Brother Israr. The man is in the car. The man. Sayara?
T.
What's the last T? Sayara T. Brother no, cannot be too difficult. Just simple one. Who's that? Madalika. Madalika. But the Zubair must be a difficult one. What let's just say Muhammad's notebook is under the table.
Okay. Muhammad's note. Oh.
The vocab is in book 2.
Daftarum. Tahtul.
Akul.
Tah.
Tahta. Tahtal. Under the table. Tahtal.
Ah,
It's
yeah.
not tahtu. It's not the default
Tah.
because it's zarf. Default of a zarf is fathah.
Tah.
Just close your ears because this one is more advanced for them. Was the Arif last one?
That has to be harsh.
The liver to 100.
So
Why
do.
was the door of the mosque unlocked properly?
Oh yeah. Semua is like. Let's say this one might be difficult, but let's try. I have two wives. It's not too difficult, but
It's very simple.
I have how to say I have first.
I have
Lee? Lee? Okay, so how to say two wives? What is one wife?
زوجين.
So yeah, can also I guess. Yeah. Because that's the other one, isn't it? Yeah. Because zauj can be both. Can be because it's a partner. Can be translated as partner as well. Doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be.
We
Doesn't have
cannot
to
use
be.
Hindi.
No, because for Hindi is for. Right. Correct. If you want to say I have a pen.
Books.
Yes. Yeah. Because this one is wife, human, so you can't use Hindi. Okay, I think that's a good exercise. I'm hoping for everyone. So the exercise, the homework I'm thinking is just to identify whether the word is marfu, majrur, or mansub. That's the only exercise. The homework that I'm thinking, because I really want to make sure that you guys understand the status, the concept of status. So if you guys can identify the word.
Those websites that you show, does
Yeah.
it have any links to explain this further?
It does have, yeah. Like the notes and all that, yeah.
Well, what we've discussed today is
Hmm.
that, and he says this, but we do not know how to identify whether there is two or musu.
For
How are we going to
for
do
now,
this exercise?
for now, the exercise is going to be easy because it's just going to be dhamma, kasrah, and fatah. That's the easy one.
I don't know what that signifies because what we've discussed is there are three statuses.
Yep.
We haven't gone through.
Just based on, for now, just based on the last harakah.
Right, okay.
So
For now. Yeah.
and which is the majrur
So that one, yeah.
is the kasra.
Let's say you see Muhammadan, the example here. Muhammadan, and with fatah, then I mean it's mansub. If it's with the domatain like this, then it's gonna be marfu'. If it's majrur like this, kasratan like this, then it's gonna be majrur. For now. For now.
Here the sixth person came.
Alright. So,
Very good.